In this video series, we are pleased to introduce some of the writings of Dion Fortune to you. This video is about the 7th chapter, Working Out Karma, continued, from Practical Occultism in Daily Life, in which Dion Fortune describes how accepting our karma and taking responsibility for our destiny enables us to successfully face all the trials, tasks, and challenges that life throws at us.
Brotherhood of the Eternal Light, Teaching the Western Mysteries, Working Out Karma, Practical Occultism in Daily Life.
Chapter 7, Working Out Karma, continued. We have seen the way in which karma determines character, and character, by determining the way in which we treat our environment, influences profoundly the way in which our environment treats us. In other words, our good and evil fortune depend to a very much greater extent than we realize upon the reactions our environment makes to our behavior. There is, however, another factor in karma to be reckoned with, the factor which most people think to be the whole of karma, though we have tried to show that this is not the case. This factor might very well be termed predestination in the good old-fashioned sense. Our way in life lies by a certain path leading through desert, mountain, or meadow, as the case may be, and though our feeling towards that path are the predominating factor in determining our happiness or unhappiness therein, and even our health, for we may approach the mountain road in spirit of the mountaineer or the laden mule, nevertheless we have no choice in the path by which we must go, and must take it as we find it, and make either the best or worst of it according to our nature. We have seen that it is possible to change our attitude towards life to a profound degree, and thereby to modify our karma. But we may well ask how a hard karma can be made endurable when, being predestined, it permits of no modification. We come now to the root of the whole problem, the only approach to the working out of our karma. It may seem a hard saying to many, but the fact must be faced that karma is a thing to be accepted, not eluded. This is the key to the whole problem. Karma must not only be accepted as inevitable, it must actually be welcomed as a scholarship in the school of life. When we have arrived at this attitude towards our karma, its working out has begun. This does not mean, however, that it will set us no more problems, submit us to no more tests. We do not avoid karma by working it out. We come to the end of it by getting through it. We might just as well expect to be spared further lessons in arithmetic because we have got the sum right. When an initiate sets out to work out his karma, he deliberately invokes it and speeds it up. The immediate result of this is twofold. Firstly, a crisis in his affairs, and secondly, a sudden access of power to deal with that crisis. After this critical period has been passed through, no more karma is left for him to work out, and he can truly say that all things work together for good for them that love God, for his good karma is now working unchecked. For the powers gained by him and the working out remain, whereas the resistances have been overcome. He then experiences the curious opening up of the way which is so often met with by those who make the unreserved dedication. In dealing with our predestined karma, therefore, we should make a virtue of necessity and accept it cheerfully, trying to see what lessons it has to teach us, what characteristics it is designed to develop in us, and actively and intelligently cooperate with the discipline of life in learning those lessons and developing those characteristics. We should lift our eyes above the sea of troubles and gaze upon the ideal of perfected character. Let us imagine ourselves as we shall be when perfected by life after life of steadfast dedication, strong, wise, harmonized, perfectly poised, and amid the ups and downs of life, as a skillful rider controls a spirited horse, giving easily to its curvetings, yet directing and controlling it. With this ideal in mind, let us consider impersonally the difficulties that surround us and see how perfected wisdom, strength, and love would enable us to rise above them and work them out. Then let us see how these very difficulties are developing in us the characteristics we need for our perfecting. If we would look upon life as a school and try to understand its lessons, how differently it would appear to us to what it does when we look upon it as an affliction, and how differently we should be able to deal with it. It is open to anyone who can rise above a self-centered attitude to do what the initiate does and invoke the lords of karma. Before he ventures upon this, however, he must have reached the point in spiritual development where he desires the good rather than the pleasant, the ideal of perfected character in preference to the pleasure-pain principle. When his heart is really turned towards the ideal, the dark angel, which, according to Kabbalistic tradition, stands behind his left shoulder, becomes an initiator and shows him the path. In the language of the mysteries, initiation by the dark angel follows upon the invocation of the lords of karma, and is the quickest and surest way to find the path. Those who have taken this initiation come onto the path karma-free. According to mystery tradition, the initiator always comes when called and asks us for the password, and if we can give that password, we are admitted to the temple of the mysteries. We do not realize, however, that it is life itself which is the great initiator, and that the physical ceremony only ratifies the spiritual experience. When we experience a whole-souled desire for the way of perfection, life always comes and asks us a test question. All those who have come by the path tell us that immediately upon the formulation of this desire came a testing experience in the ordinary way of life. If they were able to apply spiritual principles to the working out of this experience, they had answered the test question correctly and passed within the veil. Thenceforward, they see all life in terms of spiritual principle instead of physical sensation. There is no mystery about the password with which we must answer the dark angel of affliction, who comes to us in the name of the Lord. Every great spiritual teacher who has come to mankind has told us what this password is. It was uttered by our Lord at the supreme testing in the Garden of Gethsemane. Not my will, but thine be done. When we come to the point when we can say this and answer to the dark messenger of affliction that the lords of karma will send to question us when we invoke them, we shall hear the answering word, "Well done, good and faithful servant. Enter ye into the joy of your Lord." It is the unreserved acceptance of our fate as the particular lesson we need for our spiritual development that is the key which unlocks the gate of our karmic bondage. When karma is accepted, it is more than half overcome. We should make it our immediate aim to achieve serenity and even happiness under whatever circumstances the lords of karma may elect to send us. When they see that we have achieved serenity, they will say, "This lesson is learnt. It need not be repeated." As long as any experience has power to disturb us, we have not mastered it, and it will be repeated life after life until the lesson it has to teach is mastered. The aim of karma is not to break us, but to make us. We need never fear that karma will be piled on karma until we are broken. It is never karma that breaks us. If we are broken, it is because we have broken ourselves against it. Those who have seen wild ponies off the moors being broken to harness know something of the viewpoint of the lords of karma. As the fighting, stupid, vicious pony appears to the onlooking humans, so do we appear to the lords of karma. The great majority of human beings are well-intentioned. The problem of the lords of karma is not so much to eradicate active evil as to get their pupils to understand what is required of them, for we are just as much a lower order of creation to them as the animals are to us. Let us look upon the buffetings of fate as the barkings, and if need be, the shrewd nippings of the sheepdog, and the stick wavings and shouts of the shepherd trying to induce us to enter the green pastures awaiting us, and cease to consider them as the blind thwartings of our legitimate desires by any unkind fate. When we utter those mightiest of all the words of power, "Not my will, but thine be done," we come automatically into line with cosmic force, and this new will in us is no longer thwarted, but carried swiftly to its goal by the tides of the spiritual universe. This will, however, is the will to spiritual perfection. It does not gratify either our vanity or our greed, nor will it shelter our cowardice or sloth. The path by which it leads us will wind uphill all the way, but it will be sunlit and serene, and we shall never lack shelter for the night.
Violet Mary Firth, also known as Dion Fortune, was an important British occultist, ceremonial magician, and author. The Brotherhood of the Eternal Light is in direct lineage with the tradition of Dion Fortune and recognizes her as a spiritual ancestor. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments. We will create a video to answer your questions after this video series. Would you be interested in us commenting on the writings of Dion Fortune and explaining in more detail her teachings in spiritual philosophy? If so, let us know in the comments. Visit our free online course on Western Mysteries and Kabbalah or our live events on these topics. And if you haven't already done so, please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
See you soon in our next video.